Michell Consulting's webinar series for our Michell University. Today we're going to be looking at SAP Business One, and we're going to be looking at the Sales Opportunity module in SAP Business One. For the purpose of the demo, we're using SAP Business One version 8.82. So let's talk about a few concepts concerning the business opportunities before we begin. Let's look under Administration, under Setup, and under Sales Opportunities, we have some setups that we can use in order to customize our sales opportunity. The first is the sales stages, and we'll spend some time on this today because this is important on how you set it up. The stages allow you to create, based on your business concepts, what is involved in your sales cycle. For example, here we have our first is the lead, stage one. And we estimate that once we get past the lead, we have a 6% chance of closing the deal. And then we have our first meeting. If we get past the first meeting, we have a 20% chance of closing the deal. We have a second meeting. Once we get past that, we're at 50%, and so on. So in this case, we typically start off with a lead. We have first meeting, second meeting, then we create the quotation, then we go into the negotiation stage, and then the actual order. So you can see as we go along, the percentage of closing the deal gets greater and greater. We can also, while we're doing this cycle, we can actually set up partners. So we can define partners. These are other business opportunities we have, partners we're working on this particular sale. We can actually set up our competitors. If we're going against a competitor, we can actually put our competitor. We can determine the type of threat the competitor is to our deal. We can set that up. And we can also have relations. We can set up relationships between the partners and competition and so on. So this is something we can set up. This could be modified throughout the process, but this is the initial setup. Another concept I want to talk about for people that are using SAP Business One is the concept of the customers and the leads. If we open up our business partners, here we see that we have, in our business partners, we have customers, vendors, and leads. Sales opportunities can be done for existing customers, but they're typically done for a lead. A lead allows you to enter the information that you're working on for that sales opportunity. The advantage of that is we can enter all the information like a regular business partner. So if we were to go here and look at a business partner, we can enter all this information about the business partner. Difference being is that because he's a lead, he's not really going to be a partner at this time. He's not going to be our customer. He's not going to show up, in our aging and so on. We just want to keep him as a lead. Once the deal is done, we can then actually create this lead as a customer. The other advantage of a lead is that when the business partner is set up as a lead, we can actually do quotations and sales orders through SAP Business One to that lead. We cannot invoice. When we want to invoice, we would actually have to create the lead as a customer. And you can see here down in the opportunities, you can see that this particular customer has 6 opportunities. We can view it here. So we can see what we have for that particular customer, and we can drill into it here. That's one of the concepts we talk about is the lead. We'll see that when we actually go in. So let's go to sales opportunity now, and let's look at a sales opportunity. Again, we have, let's pick one here. So for example, you can see the sales opportunity. We can actually give it a name. SAP will just generate a number of the opportunity so we can track it. We can drill into our business partner. As you can see here, we're back here where we were, and we can see, again, the opportunities are here. You can see that was opportunity 1. So this business partner, Norm, has these 6 opportunities right now, and you can see the different stages they're on and the potential amounts. So again, we can actually set up our sales opportunity. We can go here. We can define the business partners that we want. We can also, if this was a new opportunity, and we tab, let's say we don't see anybody that we want here, we can see our 2 leads, we can go to New, and by default, it will open up the business partner and define that as a lead. So we can start that for the new lead and do it all at one shot. So let's go back and take a look. So again, we have some tabs. We can see here that we have the invoice amount. Again, this is coming because this is an existing customer, so you can see, again, just information about this business partner. If you click here, you can see information here as well. So you can look at the potential. You can actually go here and assign it to a sales employee. This deal is assigned to Brad. You can actually create an owner. You can do data ownership within SAP. And we do have a webinar on our website about that, details about data ownership. But you can actually assign an owner to the data. Down here we have our potential. So here we're just predicting that this is going to close in 60 days. We have our predicted closing date, our potential amount. So based on, since we're at a closing of 60%, we can see our potential amount versus our weighted amount. And then we have a gross profit because we're just doing some cost analysis to see where we are. We have some general information that we can type in about the business partner or the lead. We can put some information about if we're dealing with a business partner channel. In order to get this lead, we can set that information up here. We can assign this to a BP project if this is an ongoing opportunity. And again, we can also look at information. We can define where we got this information from, if it came from internet or however we got the information. And we can also define our different industries. And we can put all the information in here. The other one now is the stages. So this is where we are in this one. So right now we can see that we are at the quoting stage. So at this point, we've got these stages, and we'll see here we're at the quoting stage. To move this forward, we can go in and we can add a row. So we can go here and we can add a row, and let's put a closing date here. And we're going to say that we are now in the negotiation stage. The minute I do that, you can see that we're now at 80%. So if we go back to quoting, you can see the quote has it at 60%. So we can say now we've gotten past the quote, we gave the quote, so now we're going to go into the negotiation stage. We're just going to add the negotiation stage here. You can see based on that setup, we have it here. And again, with SAP Business One, you have the option of always defining new. So if we, let's say we want to create a new stage between quotation and negotiation, I do not have to exit the screen and go back to my administration. I can simply click define new, and I can create it right here and put my information in. We can also add partners, as we discussed before. We can, again, we don't have any setup, but we can always define new, so we can put partners in here. We can have the relationship with that partner. We can put our competitors, again, the relationship with the competitors, the threat level we saw before, any remarks, if we've won the deal against this competitor. Again, all this information is there for reporting purposes, so we can see exactly what's going on. We have a summary tab. Okay, so we can look at opportunities based on open, based on what we've won, and what we've lost. We can track all that information. And we can add attachments. This allows us to browse outside of SAP Business One. So we can go here, and if we want to actually put the quote or any type of technical information, we can add that outside. And you can see right here, it'll be available. So if we click Update, you can see now that we have this quote. We can open and select the quote. You can see here, I just double-clicked. I have this attached, so I can easily open it up. Again, this is available in all the files in SAP Business One, the attachment. So again, there's our sales opportunity. Again, we can look at related documents also down here if we want. Again, we don't have any links, but we can look at related documents within SAP. So I'm going to click OK. So again, that's the sales opportunity. So we can see now that if we open up the sales opportunities, again, you can see the information here. You can see the link into the business partner. So in this case, you can also view it from here. You don't have to open up the sales opportunity. You can open up the window directly from here. And the same information holds true. Okay, let's look at some of the reports. There's several reports that we'll look at. We're going to look at two here, which is the stage analysis and the opportunities pipeline. And what I'm going to do is in SAP with my cockpit here, so I don't have to keep opening this information, I'm just going to grab, and I'm going to drop it into my common function area. That's the functionality of the cockpit, which is new in the SAP 8.8 versions. Again, so I can just go here. So I don't have to keep going to the menu. So now I just have it right here. I can see all the information I want. I can click on my sales opportunity and open it from here. And I can go to my stage analysis and my pipelines. You got that twice, so let's just put that over there. And a simple drag and drop, I have that set up. So let's look at my stage analysis here. We have some criteria. Again, we can do a range of start dates. We can do a range of predicted closing dates. We can actually now separate, and we can look at stage. So if we click on here, we can choose a stage. Let's just use all of them. We can do the same thing for our sales employees and our BP codes, as well as add opportunities that have expired. So let's just run it like this. Okay, so we're looking at everything here. So you can see the general information, stage analysis. We have our stages. We have our defined percentages for closing. We have the actual percentage of where we are. We have the leads in the stage. So right now we have 28 leads that are in the lead stage. We have 22 that are at first meeting, and so on and so on. So you can see we're working our way down. We can look at our salespeople. So here we have Bill, Sophie, Brad, and Jim, and we can look at their information. Remember, we saw how we can assign that opportunity to a salesperson. You can look at it here. So again, we could do a couple things. We can actually go here if we want. Let's concentrate on Sophie. Now let's just go to sales employees. We want to look at Sophie. Choose Sophie. We're going to click OK, and we're going to click refresh. So right now you can see that we're looking at Sophie. So we're looking at the lead, the first meeting, and so on and so on. We can also do that same with the stages. Let's say we want to focus on a particular stage. Let's say we are in just the lead stage. We can do the same thing. We can click stage. We just want to look at leads for Sophie. A simple refresh, and there we are. So again, we have that information here. We can then, if we want to choose all, a simple refresh, and we see that. So this is a really good tool for the salespeople as well as the managers. It's typically used by the salespeople because we want to see where we are and what we're doing in our system. So we have this information here. And again, we have it here that we can also add opportunities with an expired closing date, which you can see you can do it from there, or we can even do it here. A simple refresh. So now you can see we have more information because we're looking at the expired. And again, we can also do the dates functionality. So if we want to look, and if we double click on the line, we can see the detail from that stage. Let's just turn this off, refresh. So now we're looking at all the stages and all the employees. But what I want to do is I'm interested here in what's going on with the leads. So I can double click on the line, and you can see that I have it set for a 30-day interval. You can see that Bill has 50, Sophie has the 70, and so on and so on. And again, we can change our dates. We want to do intervals of 30 days or maybe 45 days. Simple click and refresh, and then we have it this way. So again, that's available on all of it. We just need to go here. So let's look at the negotiation stage. And we have the same thing. You can see that Sophie's the only one that has something that's in negotiation. And the same with the order stage. You can see that Bill and Sophie, they all have something in the order stage. So again, this is the stage analysis is very good for seeing where we are in the information, where we are, how many we have leads, first meetings, and so on. So it's very good for the sales employees to use. And again, with that data ownership we talked about, you can actually set data ownership. So that way, Sophie can only see her information, let's say, and Brad can only see his. And that's available on our website. There's a webinar we did on data ownership within SAP Business One, which is very nice to actually do that kind of stuff. So we don't have salespeople looking at each other's leads and information. The other report I want to show you is the pipeline opportunity report. This is nice. Again, same functionality. What this allows me to do is look at where we are in the pipeline. Make this a little bit bigger on there. Doesn't really go out good. Let's just open it up again. So we can see here, again, we're looking at our pipeline and we're looking at information. And again, right now we're looking at everything, again, because we have nothing filtered. So we're looking at everything. We're looking at here the stage, so we can see leads. We can look at the total expected revenue, the closing percentages, the weighted total amounts. And in here, again, we're in our stage, which we can see. Expected total, closing percentages. We can see that weighted because that was 20%. Here we're in the second meeting, so we're up to 50%. So you can see our expected total and our weighted amount, and so on down here, which is reflected down here as well. And the same holds true. You can, let's say we want to go to sales employees, and we only want to look at Sophie. We can refresh. And again, now we're just looking at her. So we can do that. We can display expected totals. We can do it based on the weighted totals and based on the closing percentage. So you can see a little movement here in the graph. We want to do it that way. So again, if we want to do the same thing, we can go to business codes. Let's just say, let's look at Norm because he had a few out there. And let's just deselect Sophie. So we want to look at everybody. And again, a simple refresh. So we have it here. So now we're looking at all the information. We're looking at one particular BP and so on. So again, we have the flexibility of doing this for stages. So we can do it based on stage. We can do it based on our dates. So we can put a date range, either a start date, the closing date, and the predicted closing date, which is again set up in the actual sales opportunity. So we can track it this way. So a lot of flexibility in this report for sales managers to see what's going on, to manage the pipeline. Again, you can do it based on the documents, okay? Because as we discussed, we can also look at other documents related, since we're looking at a BP. Leads, we can only do quotation and orders, but we can do deliveries and AR invoices to actual customers. In this case, Norm was an existing customer. We can also do it that way. Again, we could do it by amounts, potentials, and so on. and we could do percentages. So we have a lot of flexibility of what we want to see on here. And again, it's just a matter of refreshing every time we do it. We can also just clear the conditions right here and refresh the same way to zero everything out. So this is a nice report. Again, we're looking at our opportunities. We can also look at it. This is kind of a static, but we can also look at it in more of a dynamic format, which is really nice to kind of track the movement. If we go to our dynamic opportunity analysis, again, here what we're looking at is everything with movement. So you can see here we have our opportunities, so we can see our business partners. So we see Norm here, represented in blue. We have other clients. We see the lead, the first meeting, second meeting, quotation, negotiation, and order. So obviously as we go through time, we're going to do our chances of winning and losing. We can set a parameter for time. We can look at how much we've won, what we've lost, and where along the way. So here I can just play this, which is nice. I can watch this as it goes along. So I'm actually going through time. I can define my time, and I can see as the different leads come in, you can see where they are. So we won that one. You can see we lost them and the stages that we've lost them in. So we can see here as we go along, we can see that we've won that. We have one that's just approaching the order. We have a couple in quote, and we can see what we have. So we have 2 wins and so on as we're going through time. And we're just going through a timeline here. So at any given point we can see, so if we want to see, here's one that we lost in the negotiation stage. We just double click on it. Again, we can look at the opportunity. And all that information you're seeing is coming from here. This is where we're getting the potential amounts. This is where we're getting the stages of where we are, because we can see here. And all the information. So it's nice that way. We want to see here, we just double click. You can see we're going to win this one here, and so on. So it's a nice little report that you can run. You can just go ahead and run the report this way. Again, you can see all the information up here, and it gives you that timeline. And that's when I have the pipeline report open, all I need to do is go to the dynamic opportunity analysis. And again, we can run that, and we can see kind of in real time, a visual representation of where we are as we go through the cycle. So again, this is nice to kind of give you a snapshot of everything that's going on. So again, we're looking at all our opportunities from all our leads or business partners we have here, where they are in the cycle, which ones are potential wins, which ones we're going to lose. And again, we have this information available in this dynamic form as well as on our reports. So we see that here. And again, there are some other reports that you can look at, forecasting reports, opportunity reports. And again, these within SAP, you can look at the one which you've won. Same thing. You can double click on them. You can look at what was lost. And again, depending on how I'm logged in, I can do the My Opportunities, My Reports. This is looking how we're logged in. If you notice down here, there's no data available because I'm logged in as Jason, which is not one of the salespeople. But if I was logged into Sophie and I was to click My Opportunities or My Closing, I would get Sophie's already, as opposed to going in here and having to select Sophie on the report. So let's recap what we've learned today in SAP Business One. We've talked about the sales opportunity. which is part of the SAP CRM functionality, which is embedded within SAP. We can see that if we want, we can go into our administration and our setup. And here we can define our stages. Again, this is the initial define. And everything I'm showing you today is controlled with authorizations. So because I have full authorizations, I have the authorization to modify and create new stages. But once you set this up, obviously you don't want your salespeople going in and modifying percentages or the stages. So you can do it that way. You can set it up here the first time. And again, these are all available when you're in the system to define new. But again, we can create our stages. We just have our numbering system for the stages and our closing percentage. We can cancel a stage anytime if we don't want to use it anymore. We really don't want to delete it because of historical data. We may have something that we lost at a certain stage, or we can cancel. Let's say we're no longer going to do 2 meetings. We're just going to go from the first meeting to the quotation, so we can cancel the second meeting if we wish. We can define partners. These are people that we're working with in order to close this deal. We can create their relationship with that partner. We can identify our competitors. We can identify the threats of that competitor. And that relationship we talked about, we can define that here. And that's here in our administration, under setup, under sales opportunities. Within the opportunities module itself, again, we have the main opportunity screen, which we discussed, which here we can, again, we can search and create a business partner and select them. If we don't have a business partner or a lead, we can go to new. This will allow us to create the new business partner, and by default, it should be created as a lead. We just want to get the general information about this lead, their name, their contact people, their addresses, and so on. The advantage of this is as we're working the deal, we're updating all this information. So when it comes time, if we win the deal, it's just a matter of taking this lead and turning it into a customer. So I don't have to rekey all the information in, so it's all here for me. Let's just grab the one we were looking at. So again, we have one here set to norm. We can see our links or our drill down capability in SAP Business One. If we click, again, this is an established customer. Because it's an established customer, you can see that he has some balances, he has deliveries, orders, and here's the opportunities right here. So norm, we're working with 6 opportunities. We can actually click on here if we want. Just double click on the line, and we can see here everything we've got, total loss, total win, and so on. That's our sales opportunity. Again, we can establish information as we're working the deal. We can put the potential of the deal and the days we think we're closing. Again, this is good for all our reporting purposes. When we look at our stage analysis reports and our pipeline reports, we have some information here, as well as the potential amounts, and the weighting is controlled by the stage. So if we look here, we can also put some general information, just some remarks. We can add related documents to it. We can put the BP channel codes if we want. Maybe this is part of a project. We can add that. We can do some information and the type of industry we're in. Again, it's all up to the user, how you want to set that up. The key is the stages. So you can see here, I added this stage. So let me just delete that. So now you can see I'm at the quotating. Immediately, I went to 60%. Immediately, everything was recalculated at the corresponding 60%. This is what I would do. So right now, let's say I sent the quote, and they have the quote, and they want to talk about the quote. So now we're going to go into the negotiation stage. Now we have to talk about some pricing. I can just go here and right-click. I can add the rows. I want to update this sales opportunity, and I'm going to add that into the negotiation stage. You'll see the minute I do that, my closing potential went up to 80% because I established that this stage, if I get to this stage, I'm at an 80% closing. Click Update to update that information. And again, we can list our partners, our competitors. We have summaries, and we can also do attachments. These are attachments outside of SAP Business One. So for example here, if I'd sent a quote, I would put the quote, just using a purchase order for this example. But the nice thing, this is a link. So all I got to do is click on it. If I want to view it, I can view the actual quote that I put on the order. So it's nice. Everything, again, SAP, we like to talk about, run simple, run powerful. Everything's in one spot. I don't have to go to files, find out where the quote is. Everything is here. Okay. We talked about our reports. We have several reports. What we focused on today was the stage analysis report. Again, this is good because we can see where we are in all our pipelines. Again, we can do it by stage. If we want to double click in the negotiation stage or the first meeting, just double click on the line and we get a detail of that particular stage. Again, we can modify this report from here. So right now we're looking at everybody. We want to just click on here and look at Sophie and click refresh. Now we're just looking at Sophie. So again, a lot of flexibility within these reports to do that. The other report we talked about was the pipeline. And the same holds true. I can look at everything in the pipeline. I can control what I want to see here. So if I want to go in, and again, let's just look at Sophie. Click refresh. And now we're just looking at Sophie. I can also, when I have this open, if I go to, I can do my dynamic opportunities. And again here, I can actually run this report based on a timeline I have set up, and I can see movement in real time as to what's going on. So this is nice also. Allows us that flexibility of going in and seeing things as they go. You can see what we're going to win, what we're going to lose, and again, it's a nice snapshot of what we've lost. You can see we lost one in the negotiation stage, and we lost one in the quotation stage. All I have to do is click and see why. If I want to put this in, I'm in here. And again, I can add some general information. I would like to add, I'd like to know why we lost the deal. Again, you can see here, this was lost. I set it up for loss versus open. That's how it knows. And because it's lost, you can see we lost it in the negotiation stage because that's where we were. So again, I can do that information here. If I look at this one here, again, we're at 95. And in our summary, I set it to a win. So I won that one. So again, that's how they determine where they are in the pipeline report. Okay, so that concludes today's session on SAP Business One Sales Opportunity. This webinar is being recorded. It'll be available on our website. You can visit us at www.michellgroup.com to view this, plus our other in our continuing series for Michell University on SAP Business One. And we thank you for your time.